Hey, welcome back to the shop. I'm Jason, and today I'm going to cover what I believe is the ultimate beginner's welding setup. No, don't click out. I see you looking at this Harbor Freight welder here, and you're like, no, nobody could use that. I'm going to compare this against my Lincoln welder that's sitting back there. Let's get into it. So ultimate beginner setup, that's a pretty bold statement. But what I want to explain is how in the last 5 years of me beginning to weld, I've evolved to what I've got going on here. I didn't say this was the most expensive, I didn't say it was the highest quality, and I didn't say that it's for professionals. I'm a beginner still. 5 years in, I still consider myself a beginner. I'm not laying down Instagram welds, I'm not getting paid to do this, but I do have a lot of fun. I've made a bunch of different kinds of furniture, some tables, some art projects, handrails, all sorts of different things. The roll cage on my car, fences. The more I think about it, the more stuff that I've been able to bubblegum myself together, and it's been a lot of fun. So let's talk about where you'll probably wind up starting, much like how I did. So before we go down the path of spending a ton of money on the welder, let's talk about where you're gonna put that welder. If you're just starting out, you wanna stick some stuff together, throwing it on top of your workbench or on the ground or dragging it around, that's probably gonna be fine. And honestly, that's what I did for a while before I got my first welding cart. And I started with, well, Harbor Freight. So I got the base cart with just a little shelf, another shelf underneath it, and a spot on the back for tanks for, let me check my notes, something like $45. And if you have a 20% off coupon, even better. Your next step up from there, they have a heavy duty cart for $120. And I'm using Harbor Freight here as a reference because, well, it's cheap. And what does it do other than sit there, right? So you can buy a nice cart from somewhere else, nice being more expensive. And that cart that I'm talking about, the next level up, the heavy duty one, that's cool. But you're still confined to that space and there's no storage. And if I'm a fan of anything, looking around my shop here, it's storage space. Next cart up from that is their heavy duty welding cart with drawers. And it's got a couple of drawers. What are you gonna stuff in there? I got a ton of welding stuff and metal stuff. This is my metal toolbox. Anything metal related goes in here. I don't really like that idea. So your next step or last step up, at least at Harbor Freight, is their full welding toolbox for $450. It looks okay. It doesn't have a whole lot of options. It does have a spot for tanks on the back. But the toolbox itself just doesn't seem that functional as far as the drawers and everything are concerned. So that's where there's a company out there, ZT Fab. He's come up with brackets for a lot of these types of toolboxes so that you can pull your casters off of the back, and he sends you laser cut, plasma cut, steel brackets that you can weld together in place of those casters. They move the casters back further, and now you have a tank setup. That wasn't exactly what I wanted, so I went to this next level. This toolbox, they're about $500 at the time of this filming, beginning of 2023. I didn't pay that for it because I always wait until the end of their toolbox season at Home Depot or Lowe's, or this toolbox is just rebranded with everybody's different things. I think even Harbor Freight's US General looks exactly like this. Either way, you can get them cheaper. So I waited until this guy went on sale and I picked this up, and then I made my own tank holder, and I changed out the wheels on here for a really important reason. I wanted this to be able to spin 360 degrees in any direction and any way I wanted it, so I could stuff it into a corner, I could squeeze it into a tight spot. All the other carts that we've discussed have fixed rear wheels. Those fixed rear wheels mean that you have to pivot on that center space, and it actually makes it quite difficult to move, especially when you're trying to maneuver around a bunch of crap, like in my shop. So let's talk about the modifications to this toolbox. Well, there was only really one. I took the fixed casters that were on the one side off, and I added full 360 degree locking casters in their place. So now all four of them, like you saw as I was rotating the box, can move in any direction. And when I park this guy up against the wall here, I can roll it in and push it straight back instead of having to move along that fixed plane. This was a huge improvement. Okay, so that covers the toolbox, but what about holding the tanks back here against the toolbox? That's really simple. Remember I told you I started with that base Harbor Freight cart. Well, rather than trying to sell a $45 cart, I took it apart and I saved all the metal. And I took the base tray and I chopped it, narrowed it to fit the size of this toolbox and to fit 2 tanks on the back. I mean, we've got a welder, why not put some stuff together with it, right? Then I added 4 casters to the bottom of it and some brackets to attach to the casters on this toolbox so that they all move as one. I feel really good with the tanks sitting on those casters. They're really well supported. To attach the tanks to the toolbox and keep everything stable and in place, I'm using these adjustable clamps. I'll drop a link down in the description to Amazon where I got them. I bought them for 7-inch tanks and I've subsequently upgraded to 8-inch. So it's just a 1/4 20 bolt here or eyelet. I extended it, fits an 8-inch tank now. Then I used a piece of, again, my old cart, because why not, to help strengthen the backside of this toolbox since it's pretty flimsy sheet metal, all said, and riv nutted the whole assembly to the box. So these guys are attached, they're firmly planted on the bottom, and I'm confident that they're not going to go anywhere. Okay, let's move on from the toolbox. This is really about the beginner's welding setup. Now, I started actually with a 90 amp stick welder. Just stick welder, no other functionality besides that. And I personally was not able to get the hang of it. I know that that's where you should start. You should learn your fundamentals and the basics, but I haven't really gotten there. I have done some stick welding with this and I've gotten better since then. I'm glad that I almost immediately sold that and I picked up my Lincoln HandyMig. And I did a whole bunch with that. Moving forward from there, I really wish that I'd waited and saved up a little bit more for a unit like this, a multi-process unit, because this has given me a lot more availability and really given me the option to do a ton more than I ever felt like I was capable with that machine. Okay, so talking about the welders, what's important to a beginner? Well, I know for a fact that when I started, I had no clue what wire speed, wire feed, how much amperage and or voltage I needed, how those all correlated. And using my Lincoln, you get a couple of options, right? You get high, low, 1, 2, and then you have 1 through 10, which correlates to your wire speed and or amperage. Inside of the door, you have your chart that lays out if you're using flux core or if you're using gas, where you should start with those, but they don't really correlate very well as you progress through the hobby. With this machine, you fire it up and it gives you a whole plethora of options, what type of gas you're using, what type of wire you're using, and when you jump in there, you tell it what thickness metal with what wire that you have, and it's going to give you base settings to start with right off of the bat without guessing. And then you can actually see, oh, this is my wire feed speed. This is my voltage. Am I using 18 volts or 14 volts? And as you're learning and progressing in the hobby, you play with those, you can see a direct correlation to those numbers in your weld pool. You're going to learn quite a bit more, at least I think you will. That alone makes this a much better beginner's machine, at least at this price point. So it's right about now that I'm sure somebody out there is screaming, but the HandyMig is so much cheaper, or the Lincoln's a better machine, or. And potentially it is a better machine. I don't really know. I've had it for like 5 years now and it's worked mostly. I have had to upgrade my ground cable because I was getting some really inconsistent results. Nonetheless, I upgraded the ground cable on this one too. Right now, it's not called the HandyMig anymore. It's called the Handy Core, and it's part of a base pack at about $450, where I picked this guy up for just above $800 on sale with the 20% off coupon. Not a significant difference given just how much more this machine provides. One, it's a 110 or a 220 machine. Two, it's a multi-process with lots of different options. So again, I really wish that I had waited and bought something more like this or done a little bit more research or maybe seen a video like this in a comparison. Okay, so obviously I like this machine. Gives me a lot of options and availability to do basically whatever I want for the conceivable future. There were a couple of things that I changed right off the bat. And the first thing I changed was I extended my ground lead from 10 feet to 20 feet. And I went from the 4 gauge that it came with to 2 gauge. That was really simple. I bought a spool of wire on Amazon, link down in the description, DINS connector, standard 3570, and then I was set to go. All I had to do was swap over my ground clamp with a nice copper lug. The next thing that I did was I upgraded my MIG lead to this Yes Welder lead. Again, links down below, that use Tweco consumables, because this is 15 feet and it's got a much nicer trigger on it than what came with this machine. This was great because the machine could stay on top of my cart here next to my car while I was climbing around all the tube work and getting everything welded together. I would like to get one more lead with a flexible head on it. I think that that would prove useful, but thus far this has worked really well. The last thing I did, which is not really an upgrade, but just adding to the machine because it doesn't come with the parts, was I bought the TIG torch and the TIG pedal. At this price point, I really think that they should come with all those parts. The machine is $1,150 as is, without any discounts or Insider Track Club or all of that stuff. Then it's another $90 for the torch, $90 for the foot pedal. Now, mind you, if you were to get the Lincoln version that's just like this and get all of those accessories, you're looking at about $3,000. So this is still a steal of a price, but I really think that Harbor Freight should step up, and that should come with the multi-process kit so that you can use it right out of the box. I hope you guys are watching out there. So the last thing that I added was this 25-foot 8-gauge 50-amp extension cord so that I can leave the welder connected and I can roll the box to almost any corner of the garage that I'm going to be working in. So to close this video out, let's compare the two machines side by side. We're going to weld some 18 gauge plate that I tacked together earlier and some 10 gauge plate, which is going to be a stretch for the Handy MIG. And to make this a truly beginner's weld, I've got my assistant here, Judah, come on over.
All right.
Who only has a couple hours of welding experience under his belt. Would that be about right?
Yeah, not too much.
We've TIGged, we've MIGged, and we've stick welded, but it's been a little while. So this is going to be a true cold test of what it's like working with these machines. Straight out of the door, 18 gauge says we need a wire speed of 3 with our heat range at low 2. Judah's got his safety equipment on. He's practiced his pattern across there. Let's see what it looks like. All right, let's go ahead and try it.
All right.
We have a quick look without the hood. Not so bad for an 11-year-old sticking some 18 gauge together. We got to work on our penetration on the base plate.
Yeah.
All right, well, Judah sets up for the switch. We'll come over and get the Harbor Freight powered on. We currently have the TIG set up, so we're going to have to disconnect that. And it tells us where to put our clamps. So we want our ground to be negative right here, and our positive is going to be our MIG lead, which is there. So we'll swap over. Negative on the ground. MIG lead goes positive. Okay. And we can confirm. We'll run an 030 wire. We're going to do 18 gauge. All right. Kick on our gas. Okay. What's our plan with this one?
I'm gonna just do some simple ease.
Simple
for this
ease?
one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Ready. I think right off the bat, that base setting looks pretty good. Switch out to 10 gauge. So come back to the home, go over here, and roll down to 10 gauge. Right there. And we'll run it just like that.
All right, I'm gonna go same with this one. Ease.
Okay. Make sure you have good angle there on your torch. You've got your lead in a safe spot. I'm ready when you are. Well, hot diggity. So checking the back side, you can see we got good penetration on the 18 gauge. This was with the Vulcan and this was with the Lincoln. This side was Vulcan here and Lincoln here. Can't quite see it on the 10 gauge. I think we needed a little bit more hold time. There's a pretty clear difference in how well each one of those welded. Okay, so did you notice any difference between the two? Did you like one better than the other?
I did like the Vulcan a bit better. It just felt like it was a bit easier to go through.
Almost like it was sticking better or melting better?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that I've taken Judah away from playing for long enough. You're welcome to go play, bud. Love you. Thank you. Hey, if you got any information out of this video, or perhaps it helped you in making your next decision in a welder, a cart, adding something to the back of a toolbox like I did, drop a comment down below, maybe hit the like button, subscribe if you so desire. This is the type of stuff we do on this channel, in the garage, in the house, and out in real life. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.